A mayoral candidate being challenged. The saga surrounding embattled South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard continues.
Will be on the general election ballot despite an attempt to block her candidacy by an ally of...
After being hailed as the youngest and first female mayor, Dolton Henyard's reign has rapidly declined under mounting controversies. And in a shocking turn of events, embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard finds herself at the center of confusion and controversy, with many calling for her to step down at the end of her political career. Federal examinations loom action. Henyard was first viewed as a rising star and a beacon of hope for Dolton's struggling residents, but instead of delivering relief, the community is speaking out against her leadership. Favorable alteration, allegations of financial mismanagement, corruption, and neglect have plagued her time in office. From taxpayer-funded luxury trips to missing important meetings during a government shutdown, her actions, or lack thereof, have infuriated the community. Despite the growing pressure, Henyard seems unconcerned with the repercussions as the walls close in on her office and the drama keeps getting worse.
Henyard was not at the hearing here today. Neither was her attorney, and she was not made available for...
Mayor Tiffany Henyard skipped 2 important meetings this week in one day, including an emergency session in Dolton Township to address the ongoing insurance crisis. Without insurance, vital services like senior transportation, food assistance, and even government building operations have come to a standstill, and residents are furious. One local called Henyard's absence a slap in the face to everyone who depends on these services. Trustee Chris Gonzalez summarized it by saying, "We're on a toll." She gave the excuse that she was absent because she was worried about her safety, but no proof of these claims has been shown. Jason Houst, a senior trustee and one of Henyard's most scathing critics, didn't buy the excuse. He pointed out that the Board of Trustees had not been informed of any credible threats and stressed that the meeting went forward without her because the village's business could not be postponed any longer. The meeting's residents were equally dubious, with one questioning whether she was so afraid that she hadn't resigned because she was obviously not performing the duties for which she was elected. People's anger towards Mayor Tiffany Henyard has reached a breaking point in Dolton, where protests broke out outside a village board meeting she skipped. The residents demanded accountability, accusing her of embarrassing the village and demanding her resignation. Some compared her leadership to a chaotic reality show, calling it more of a... The discontent is more widespread in a circus than in a government. Henyard is trying to get back on the ballot for supervisor after losing in a contentious Democratic caucus vote last month, and residents of Dolton Township are also upset.
It's about democracy and it's about hypocrisy.
I really think residents are accusing Mayor Tiffany Henyard of neglecting her duties as mayor of Dolton and supervisor of Dolton Township, arguing that her absences from meetings are not only a political issue, but also a legal one. Some are even calling for her to be removed from office for her repeated absences, which they see as a dereliction of duty. As the frustration grows, the calls for accountability are becoming louder. Meanwhile, Henyard's detractors say she is purposefully avoiding these meetings to avoid difficult questions from the public and trustees. For instance, her absence during the Dolton Township emergency session prevented the board from resolving the ongoing insurance crisis that continues to affect hundreds of residents. Trustee Chris Gonzalez didn't mince words when he said, "This isn't just politics anymore. This is about people's lives. We can't keep stalling while our seniors and families suffer." The frustration is evident, and many people think that Henyard's avoidance strategy is a sign that she knows her days in office are coming to an end.
Again, no comment from Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Voters here will first head to the polls in February for the primary election, then the general mayoral election.
The dysfunction in Dolton and Dolton Township, according to supporters of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, is the consequence of long-standing political rivalry and structural problems that existed before her term. However, some of her former allies are beginning to turn away, citing her mounting scandals and legal issues as too much of a distraction for the community. This isn't just about Tiffany, one supporter said outside a recent township meeting. It's about a broken system that needs to be fixed. She's not perfect, but at least she's trying. However, The divisive Democratic caucus has become a major source of disagreement, with friends of Henyard alleging they were barred from the location, while State Senator Napoleon Harris and his supporters lined up a number of candidates, including Harris, to take her place as supervisor. Several lawsuits have been filed by Henyard to contest the results, calling the process illegal and manipulative. Critics accuse her of hypocrisy, citing her own purported strategies of voter suppression and power grabs in Dolton, which has many locals doubting her outrage and pointing out the contradiction between her claims of injustice and her actions.
In Thornton Township and in Dolton, except in one case, Tiffany Henyard wants on a ballot, while in another, a Henyard ally was looking to keep her opponent.
Henyard has also been active in the legal arena, bringing lawsuits against the Thornton Township Democratic Party, the caucus organizers, and even her own trustees in Dolton, alleging that they plotted to weaken her authority. Nevertheless, these legal disputes have raised. Many locals are worried about the financial strain they would place on them and believe taxpayer dollars are supporting her efforts. This has led to calls for accountability and transparency in the way public monies are used for legal fees. Dissatisfaction with the possible misappropriation of public funds keeps increasing.
Unanimous, the objector's petition has been withdrawn.
Can't do that. Can't contest everyone.
The claims of financial mismanagement against Henyard are not limited to that. She has been the subject of a federal investigation for months, with inquiries into everything from unreported monies to extravagant travel and event expenditures. One particularly egregious example is additionally, $40,000 was spent on Amazon purchases in a single day with no apparent reason, and an $85,000 concert with almost no attendance during a restricted investigation of Dolton's finances. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot found a startling $365 million shortfall in the general fund of the village.
Manipulation. Nobody likes being manipulated, and when you get here, you know that's exactly what's happening.
It's no surprise that Hen's political allies are abandoning her in the midst of all the drama surrounding her. Even her lawyer, Max Solomon, recently tried to back out of representing her in an eviction case involving back rent on a property she allegedly abandoned. The case has been dragging on since September. Court records show that she and a co-owner owe more than $133,000 in rent and damages, which is another illustration of the instability surrounding Henyard. Solomon's move to withdraw did not include an explanation. At this point, it's obvious that representing Henyard is like attempting to keep a sinking ship afloat.
We need some action, somebody that's actually going to do their job. How about that? Somebody that's come in, work for the people, not themselves, and have pictures off.
All things considered, Henyard is running out of supporters and alternatives as the primary election draws near, and her major rival, Jason House, has been gaining ground and establishing himself as the leader Dolton needs to restore order and trust. A lifelong village resident, Jason House has made ethics reform, and in a recent statement, he stated that financial openness is a key component of his campaign, and that, based on the attendance at the most recent board meeting, many locals agreed that we need someone who will prioritize the needs of the people over their own interests.
This is one of the most recognizable faces that's been on the news lately. I'm talking about the mayor of Dolton, Tiffany Henyard.
And all of
Henyard appears to be trapped in the past, holding on to power as her support wanes. Her recurrent absences from meetings, failure to confront the insurance situation, and continuous legal challenges have many people wondering about her, while House is focused on pushing Dolton ahead. In the end, is she merely buying time before the inevitable, or is she attempting to weather the storm and salvage her career? One thing is certain, Henyard's days in office seem to be coming to an end as the clock ticks away.
It's a little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Wow.
Let's talk about the title of this, because it's called Super Mayor, and that is what Tiffany Henyard calls.
Hen's demise has elicited brutally honest fan reactions. One commenter summed up the sentiment by saying that, as a young Black woman, she had the chance to do something spectacular in Dolton, but she decided to discard it all because her ego got in the way. Another mentioned a recent scandal involving alleged misconduct by a trustee while traveling to Vegas, implying that I think she missed those meetings because the audio and FaceTime of Trustee Holmes boasting about his ignominious actions were leaked the night before. She is avoiding the fallout as the scandal plays out, leaving the people to pick up the pieces of a government in chaos. The insurance situation in Thornton Township is still unsolved, depriving vulnerable populations of necessary services. Dolton's money is in ruins with no. There is hope because, as one resident stated during the protest, we've been through tough times before, and we'll get through this too, but first we need to clean house. With the primary election just weeks away, the question is still whether Tiffany Henyard will finally face the consequences of her actions or whether there will be a clear plan to address the massive deficit with Henyard refusing to step down the road to recovery. Who has what it takes to guide Dolton and Thornton Township towards a better future? Will she manage to hold on to power? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like for additional updates on this developing story. Subscribe as well. If there's one thing we've learned about Tiffany Henyard, it's that the drama is far from over, so keep an eye out. Until we meet again, thanks for watching Visual Vortex.